And here now for more on the Dirty Money Report, we're joined by Dr. Martin Sherman, the founder and executive director of the Israel Institute for Strategic Studies, Nitsana Darshan-Leitner, the president of Shurat Adin Israel Law Center, Major General Gershon Hacohen, senior research fellow at the Begin Sadat Center for Strategic Studies, and Adam Keller, spokesperson for Gush Shalom. Thank you all very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, so Nitsana, I'd actually like to start with you. What are kind of maybe the pitfalls? Is there a problem with offering a defense to pro-BDS activists or activists or spokespeople from organizations that might be controversial or pro-BDS even?
Every person is entitled to a defense. However, if you use this right in order to influence a policy, internal policy, domestic policy of a foreign country, it's a wrongdoing. When these organizations, as we saw before, defenses, right, come and defend those who want to provoke against Israeli IDF soldiers, against the Israeli sovereignty, in order to carry out a policy of those who fund it, which happen to be European governments, European nations, that's wrong. This is something unheard of. This is something that neither United States, as we saw with the elections, or any other country will agree to. And therefore, they have no right to come and defend these BDS activists when they carry out a foreign policy.
So do you believe that perhaps the foreign governments offering this funding are not aware, or at least maybe perhaps not to the full extent, how that money is being used?
That would be very naive to claim. We know that since the beginning of the Intifada, Europe has been involved deeply into the peace process, trying to promote her solution to the peace process. And we're not going to get into it yet in this discussion. But the mere fact that they used diplomatic efforts which did not succeed brought them to decide to use internal organs in the Israeli society in order to influence better, because when an NGO comes, an Israeli NGO comes and bring a high court petition to defend so-called a Palestinian right, which has a standing in court and all that stuff, nobody knows that it's really a proxy of the European government. And Europe was very careful to disguise it until the law came a couple of years ago that obligated the non-for-profits to come and reveal their sources.
Hold on, I want to take it to the other side of the table.
Yeah, I want to say yes. There was made a law which said that Israeli NGOs which get money from European governments have to write it in their and then since then these organizations are writing it as required by the law, only with one addition. They write, "We are proud to get money from European governments," and I think that there is absolutely no reason for an Israeli organization working for peace or for human rights to be in any way.
Every country can have a fifth column.
I think it is there is absolutely no reason to feel ashamed of getting money from democratic countries which have a proper democratic behavior in their own countries. And by the way, if you don't want, for example, Germany to give money to human rights organization in Israel, perhaps you would like Germany also not to give Israel as a gift submarines which cost billions of euro each one, and which are paid by the German taxpayers' money.
Seriously.
So I would like to.
There's a limit to the nonsense that you can talk. Really, how many NGOs that support Israeli policy get money from foreign governments?
No, they get from the Israeli government.
No, they don't.
But anyway, I think I want to say, it is true that the European Union wants to have peace between Israel and the Palestinians, that they want Israel to withdraw from the occupied territories. If I have a criticism of the European Union, is that it is not doing enough, that it is not interfering enough in Israeli politics. I would like the European Union to be much more assertive towards Israel.
So you're against elections?
I'd like to hear General Gershon Hacohen's response.
this is the name of the game in the new warfare in 91st century. It means that what they cannot afford themselves to do on the table, they are doing subversively under the table. This is the new game. And we just must bring examples how they are doing against Israeli sovereignty, not only in Judea and Samaria, in which they are working
There's no
publicly.
Israeli sovereignty in Israel, it's Judea and Samaria.
Okay, we have interest there, and sovereignty is not only in the borders that are accepted. The Israeli has interest in Judea and Samaria in Zone C, and they are building there for Palestinians, but beyond that, they are working subversively against Israeli rights of sovereignty in Jaffa, in the Bedouin in the Negev. For example, a lot of public residents belonging to the government, Amidar, have been just taken by force by Palestinians.
Taken by force?
Yes, and when the police came to take them out, there was a conference in Suzan Dalal, absolutely supported by European Union under the name with BIMCOM, that it is architects against architects for human rights, and this is in the name of working against what they called ethnic cleaning. It means you go against Israeli sovereignty.
You're undermining the harm of these NGOs. This is not only about Israeli sovereignty. It's not about Judea and Samaria. It's about every step these NGOs are taking against Israel. You will never see even one step they're taking in favor of Israeli citizens, in favor of a Jewish person. It's only against Israel. It's only pro-Palestinians, and it's. Sure.
No other.
Let me say two things.
This is devastation.
First of all, these are not human rights organizations. These are political organizations who use human rights as a means of promoting their political agenda. Because, for instance, they've got nothing to say about human rights in Gaza under the Hamas. Nothing whatsoever. No European money is being spent to promote human rights in Gaza. And you know what? Let me give you an example. Let me finish. Let me give you an example. Remember, they evacuated a settlement called Amona. And they resettled the Jewish settlers, and the human rights organizations supported the evacuation. Now, the cost of resettling the Amona residents was estimated at something like 150 million shekels. If they were to offer the Arab landowner 10%, 15% of that cost to sell the land to the Jewish settlers, he would have seized upon it because he would have made a fortune of money. But he couldn't do that because he would have been killed if he'd done that. No one on these so-called human rights organizations...
The same is the Bedouin in the Negev. They are trying not to solve the problem.
They are trying to solve the problem in a just way.
Why isn't it just for him to receive money for his property? Because it's your political agenda, it's your political agenda which denies the landowner his rights.
It is my political agenda that the land which is called here so-called Judea and Samaria is land which should become part of the state of Palestine.
What I'm telling you, they are doing that
and my political agenda is to help the Palestinians get their state in the West Bank and Gaza Strip with its capital in East Jerusalem. I think that is for the good of Israel. But I wanted to say,
and in the name of that political agenda, you're prepared to deny the landowner making a profit out of his asset?
In the name of this agenda, I want Israel to withdraw from this territory, and I'm against Israeli settlement there, except if the
there are, for example, problems in the Basque district in Spain. Do you think Israel can work subversively against sovereignty of Spain?
Yes.
They are not doing it. We will not do that. Why they can do that against us?
But Israel is working against sovereignty of the United States. I would like to say it is a chutzpah to claim that to complain about European countries interfering in the sovereignty of Israel. when Israel is maintaining for very many years this organization which is called AIPAC, which is interfering openly.
AIPAC is not an Israeli organization.
It is an Israeli organization controlled by the government of
It is
Israel.
not even Jewish
No,
organization.
let's say I would offer
Financed by private money.
yes, private money. I would suggest you.
Mr. Keller, AIPAC is not an Israeli.
I would suggest you a deal. I would suggest you a deal. The government of Israel is, as government of Israel, asking AIPAC, please disband and continue, stop all your activity, and in exchange, all the Israeli NGOs will stop getting money from
I'm sorry
Europe.
to tell you.
Okay,
comments?
You don't know what you're talking about.
Israel is interfering
Mr. Keller, please.
openly
Final
in
comments.
American politics.
Mr.
Well,
All these NGOs here are guided directly by ambassadors of European Union. Can you find
Mr.
one
Keller, please.
example of Israeli ambassador
Israeli
directly
ambassador
AIPAC?
guiding
Mr.
AIPAC,
Keller.
you can find 100 of
If you could please let other people finish as they have allowed you. Would you like to final comment? And then we have
My
to
final
wrap it up,
comment is
unfortunately.
perhaps a little contrarian. I think in many ways Israel is at fault by allowing these NGOs to operate instead of spending adequate amounts on its own public diplomacy and exposing them and exposing the false Palestinian narrative. They spend miserly amounts on promoting the Israel's case abroad and undermining the Palestinian case because BDS is the symptom, not the malaise. The malaise is the delegitimization of Israel, and unless you confront the delegitimization of Israel, you will not be able to confront BDS.
Well,
As long as
unfortunately,
you
we have
hold
to
the
end it here.
territories by force,
I greatly apologize. We have
delegitimizing itself.
All right. Well, unfortunately, we have to end it here. Thank you all so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. And I understand that this is a topic that we could talk about for a lot longer. But thank you so much for coming in and sharing your insights.
Thank you very much.